Have you ever truly wondered if your relationship is healthy? Or if you've just gotten used to it? Sometimes, we call what's truly become a constant source of exhaustion love. We insist on believing we're living a beautiful story when, in reality, we're trapped in a silent cycle of pain, confusion, and emotional manipulation. And the hardest part is that it's not always easy to see, especially when feelings are involved. Toxic relationships rarely start badly. Most of the time, they present themselves as excessive care, as jealousy disguised as concern, as constant attention, that at first even seems flattering. But, little by little, this begins to weigh you down. What once seemed like protection becomes control, affection becomes demands, and, without realizing it, you begin to distance yourself from who you really are, from your desires, from your emotional freedom, from your own essence. And perhaps, as you listen to me now, something inside you is tightening. Maybe your heart has already been silently trying to warn you that something isn't right. Today, we're going to talk about the signs of a toxic relationship. Not to point fingers, but to bring clarity. Because understanding what hurts is always the first step to protecting yourself. A toxic relationship is one in which emotional balance simply ceases to exist. Gradually, the relationship becomes less about exchange and more about wear and tear. One of the two, and in many cases, both, begins to drain the other's energy, time, and even trust. It's a type of bond that is tiring, confusing, hurtful, and undermines self-esteem in an almost invisible way. You feel like you're always trying to keep everything afloat, even when you no longer have the strength. The most dangerous thing about this type of relationship is that it rarely starts negatively. On the contrary, in the beginning, everything seems intense and perfect. There's excessive affection, constant attention, constant messages, promises, quick plans. You feel seen, chosen, important. And that's precisely why it's so difficult to notice when something starts to change. Because the memory of the beginning makes you believe that things can still go back to how they were before. But, over time, love transforms into control. That constant attention becomes surveillance. Care becomes demands. Interest turns into distrust. And without realizing it, you begin to mold yourself to avoid conflict, to measure your words, to erase yourself a little more each day. A toxic relationship doesn't hurt all at once. It wears you down little by little until you forget what it felt like to feel light within a relationship. The first sign of a toxic relationship is often also one of the most mistaken for love. Control disguised as care. It starts subtly, almost imperceptibly. The person begins to want to know where you are all the time, who you're talking to, why you took so long to reply to a message, why you liked a certain photo, why you went out without telling them. And when you find it strange, the justification comes. It's because I'm worried about you. But, although it sounds like affection, this is not care. It's surveillance. Caring means wanting the best for the other person, respecting their freedom and individuality. Controlling means wanting to dominate, trying to decide what the other person does, who they talk to, how they live. Control doesn't arise from shouting. It infiltrates routines, conversations, the small concessions you make to avoid conflict, and, little by little, it distances you from your emotional freedom until you no longer feel comfortable being who you are. Toxic people often use concern as an excuse to overstep boundaries. They make you believe you're being ungrateful, exaggerating, or insensitive for wanting some space. And then guilt creeps in. Guilt for not responding quickly. Guilt for wanting to go out alone. Guilt for needing silence. When love starts making you feel guilty for existing outside the relationship, it's a clear sign that something is wrong. Have you ever felt small next to someone who, in theory, should help you grow? Someone who should be a refuge, but ends up becoming a source of insecurity. This is one of the most painful signs of a toxic relationship, because it directly affects how you see yourself. It doesn't happen all at once. It starts with subtle comments, seemingly harmless observations, jokes about things you've already told them that hurt you. Everything comes packaged as jokes, as sincerity, as if you were exaggerating your feelings of harm. Over time, these small devaluations accumulate. You start hearing constant criticism about who you are, what you do, how you speak, dress, or think. And even when there are no harsh words, the tone, the look, or the silent disdain say a lot. Little by little, you begin to question yourself more, to apologize for things you don't even know exactly what they are, to doubt your own abilities. And without realizing it, you begin to believe that maybe you really aren't good enough. This is how a toxic relationship erodes self-esteem, not with one big attack, but with small daily wounds. A healthy partner supports you, encourages you, recognizes your efforts, and celebrates your achievements. A toxic partner compares you to others, constantly criticizes you, and makes you doubt your own worth. And when love starts to make you feel less, it ceases to be love. Emotional manipulation is one of the most subtle and most dangerous forms of abuse within a relationship. This is precisely because, most of the time, it doesn't involve shouting or explicit aggression. It appears in words, silences, looks of disappointment, and especially in guilt. It happens when the other person makes you feel responsible for feelings, reactions, and pain that are not, in fact, your responsibility. This often appears in phrases that seem simple, but carry enormous weight. You're making me feel bad. If you really loved me, you would do this for me. You always ruin everything. Little by little, these words create a knot in your head. You start to wonder if you're being selfish, cold, insensitive. You begin to doubt your own intentions, even when you know you haven't done anything wrong. These phrases create emotional confusion and make you believe you constantly need to sacrifice yourself to keep the other person well, calm, or satisfied. You end up swallowing your feelings, giving up your own desires, and exceeding your own limits to avoid conflict. But that's not love. Love doesn't require you to erase yourself so that the other person is okay. Love is a mutual choice, a shared responsibility, not emotional blackmail disguised as affection. When someone uses guilt to control you, that's not care, it's manipulation. In a healthy relationship, no is heard and respected. It doesn't need lengthy justifications, nor does it generate emotional punishment. In a toxic relationship, however, no is rarely accepted. It's questioned, tested, pressured. The other person insists, forces, argues, makes a scene until you give in, not because you want to, but because you're tired of resisting. And when that happens, there's a strange feeling, as if you've betrayed yourself. Every time your limits are crossed, something inside you weakens. You begin to feel that you no longer have control over your own life, your own body, your own time. You start to avoid saying what you think, what you feel, or what you want, just to avoid dealing with the other person's reaction. And so, the fear of displeasing others takes the place of your freedom. Boundaries are not walls to keep love away. They exist to protect what is essential in us: respect, dignity, and self-love. When someone repeatedly ignores or disrespects your boundaries, they are not demonstrating love. They are demonstrating that your needs matter less. And no relationship that makes you lose respect for yourself can be considered healthy. The fifth sign is constant emotional instability. One day everything is fine. Everything seems perfect, full of affection, promises, and connection. The next, everything collapses without you understanding exactly why. The atmosphere changes, the tone changes, the relationship changes, and you start living on high alert, trying to predict the other person's mood, choosing your words carefully, as if you were always treading on unstable ground. This emotional roller coaster becomes addictive, because between one conflict and another, intense moments of love, passion, and closeness emerge. And it's these moments that keep you hooked. They fuel the hope that the good will return, and this time stay. That what hurts is just a phase, a mistake, something temporary. But this calm never lasts long. The cycle of toxicity almost always repeats itself in the same way. The fight comes, then the guilt, the regret, the promises of change, and then the restart. But each turn of this cycle exacts a higher emotional price. You become worn down, confused, and lose yourself a little more with each repetition. Love shouldn't be so unpredictable that it causes you fear. Healthy relationships bring security, not anxiety. The sixth sign appears silently, almost imperceptibly: isolation and the loss of one's own identity. Little by little, You begin to distance yourself from friends, cancel meetings, stop responding to messages. Not because you've stopped liking these people, but because everything becomes a reason for argument. So, to avoid fights, you give in. Then, you abandon hobbies, stop doing things you've always loved, change habits, tastes, and even opinions. All to maintain peace, a peace that, in reality, costs too much. Over time, you realize that your life begins to revolve around the other person. Your schedules, decisions, and plans start to depend on their mood, approval, or presence. What once defined you starts to fade away, and you no longer recognize yourself as you once did. A feeling of emptiness arises, a disconnection from yourself, as if you've left important parts of who you are behind. This is a very clear sign that something is wrong. Healthy relationships add to your life, broaden your horizons, help you grow, and become more yourself. Toxic relationships do the opposite. They mold you to fit into the other person's world, even if it means diminishing yourself, erasing yourself, and losing yourself. And no love should demand that you stop being who you are in order to continue existing within the relationship. The seventh sign is a lack of reciprocity and emotional support. You realize you're always available, always present, always ready to listen, help, and comfort. When the other person needs you, you make an effort, you give of yourself, you adapt. But when you're the one who's unwell, who needs attention, understanding, or care, the person disappears, changes the subject, or minimizes what you're feeling. And even then, somehow, you still feel indebted, as if you're never doing enough. This dynamic creates a profound imbalance. You give everything, while the other person offers the bare minimum, and even makes it seem like that's already too much. Over time, this unequal exchange generates emotional exhaustion, frustration, and a constant feeling of emptiness. You begin to wonder why you need to beg for what should be natural within a relationship: presence, listening, and support. True love is partnership. It's being together in good times, but also in difficult times. It's about exchange, not demands. When there's no reciprocity, the relationship ceases to be an encounter between two people and becomes a relationship of dependence, where one sustains everything while the other only receives. And no love should exhaust you to the point of forgetting yourself. After hearing all this, you might be wondering if you're trapped in this cycle without even realizing it. One of the clearest signs is the constant feeling that you need to walk on eggshells to avoid arguments. You think 1,000 times before speaking, measure every action, try to anticipate reactions. You live in a permanent state of alert, as if any misstep could cause another conflict. This is neither normal nor healthy. Another strong sign is constant anxiety. You feel a tightness in your chest, a restlessness that won't go away, even when everything seems fine. And often, you feel guilty about simple things, like setting your own boundaries, saying what you feel, or choosing yourself. When loving someone makes you feel wrong for respecting yourself, that relationship is probably doing you more harm than good. The first step to breaking this cycle is recognizing what's happening, without judging yourself for it. Recognizing it isn't weakness, it's awareness. The second step is seeking help. Talking to friends, family, or seeking professional support can make all the difference. No one needs to face a toxic relationship alone, and you don't have to carry this burden in silence. Starting to break free from a toxic relationship isn't easy, and it's important to say that clearly. There's attachment, there's fear, there are good memories, and above all, false hopes that the person will change. Often, you cling to what the relationship once was, or what it could have been. But loving someone doesn't mean accepting being constantly hurt. Love shouldn't hurt like that. The liberation process begins when you decide to reclaim your autonomy, step by step. Reconnecting with people who make you feel good is one of them. Reconnecting with friends, family, and those who truly know you helps you remember who you are outside of those relationships. Returning to things you enjoy, even gradually, is also essential. What gives you pleasure, meaning, and joy is not selfishness. It's emotional survival. Talking about what you feel is another important step. Keeping everything to yourself only increases the burden. When you put it into words, the pain begins to lose its power. And, above all, Don't blame yourself for wanting peace. Wanting tranquility, respect, and lightness doesn't make you weak, ungrateful, or selfish. You are not responsible for healing someone who hurts you. Your greatest responsibility is to take care of yourself. Relationships should be spaces of love, growth, and security. Places where we feel welcomed, respected, and free to be ourselves. But when a relationship becomes a constant source of fear, pain, and confusion, something needs to be rethought. Love shouldn't hurt, nor should it demand that you erase yourself to remain there. To love is not to lose yourself in the other. To love is to recognize yourself alongside someone. If this video reminded you of situations you're experiencing now, or feelings you've been trying to ignore, take it seriously. These signs don't appear by chance. You deserve a love that brings lightness, not guilt. A love that strengthens you, not one that breaks you inside. A love that adds to your life, that cares, that respects your boundaries and your essence. And above all, remember one thing. Choosing yourself is not selfishness, it's courage. The first step to living a healthy love begins when you decide to put yourself first. Always.